Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Season 3 of the World with Nate podcast. I'm your host, Nate Allison. This podcast episode is sponsored by my awesome sponsors, Mattress by Appointment in Cedar Falls, Cool Fit with Holistic Lifestyle Coach Nick Cool, and Brennan Family Dentistry. They all support me in making this awesome podcast happen. Today, this is a really special guest for me. I've admired you, Paul Lee, for a long time with the Knights of Columbus role and the type of energy that you bring every time I see you. It's a joy to speak with you every time, so I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you so much. This has been a bucket list for me to be able to be on your podcast, because just looking at the dynamic speakers and the way that you're able to convey the story and bring positivity has just been a treat of mine. So
I told
thanks
you
for having
not
me.
to make me blush prior to start, Paul. We had an awesome conversation, some deep stuff prior to hitting the mics, and I want to rehash some of the things. Now, we talked about you growing up in St. Louis, and that was a commonality. I grew up not far away, or not grew up. I was in the military near Scott. Where at in the city of St. Louis?
So
inside?
Started inside city, close to Busch Stadium.
Okay.
Then mom was married. We moved out close to the airport. My mom and dad are still there. I have a younger brother that is still in St. Louis with his kids and family. And then there's a middle in between us. He's now relocated out. But there were three of us. My mom was one of five. All were in St. Louis.
Okay.
My dad's one of four. All in St. Louis. So
big family.
That's just been home base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was growing up in St. Louis like? That's a pretty big city.
It's a big city,
yeah.
But broken into small towns. And it has that small town feel for being a big city.
Yeah.
So you have all of the comforts of live music, live theater.
Cardinals baseball.
Huge Cardinals baseball. That drives everything.
In the Lee House.
Oh, not just the Lee House, but everywhere. You know, when the whole city shuts down for home opener, then you know there's something special. It's like, yes, we had football and other sports. The Blues are big.
Yeah, now the Blues are real big, yeah.
But Cardinals baseball drives everything.
Yeah.
And especially if you make it and you're a decent player and even a better human, ticket me. You don't have to buy dinner anywhere in St. Louis. So
that's absolutely true.
Great childhood growing up. Went to grade school, high school. Shout out to my undergrad alma mater, Lindenwood University.
Okay, I know exactly where that's at. That's cool to hear that.
So
my wife will.
I was the school mascot at Lindenwood
during your
for
time?
a couple of years. So rebuilding that program, that was exciting to be part of that. And then got an opportunity to work on a grad degree at a school that I had heard about but never attended. I'd heard about the University of Northern Iowa because Missouri Valley basketball tournaments always there.
In St. Louis.
Growing up, there's pictures of me rooting for UNI. I had no clue, but God did, that UNI would become such an important part of my story. But then had the opportunity to move here. Moved here the fall of 2006. Met a young lady at church, and as they say, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Now, Lindenwood and St. Louis, now that is what type of college?
So it's a private university, historically Presbyterian nature. It's now a D1, NCAA D1 school. When I was there, it was NAIA Division II.
What was the mascot?
We were the Lions. Still the Lions.
Okay.
So
at least you got something cool.
We got something cool, right? The big lion suit. It was a little mangly because it hadn't been used in 7 years. So I had to clean it up. Yeah. The best was keeping the secret from my parents.
And they didn't know.
They had no clue. And that's part of the lore of college and professional mascots, is that your people don't know that you are the person in the suit. Ever. Until graduation.
Until your assignment's done.
Yes, until the assignment's finished. So my dad, he's an Lindenwood alum. He would often say, hey, let's go to the football game. And I would have to come up with some reason why I was not available. Either church or Boy Scouts, or just not interested because I have homework.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm booked. Man. And they would still go. So I have pictures of all the times that I was in the suit taking pictures with mom and dad.
Get out of here.
And they have no clue. No clue.
That's pretty sweet, though.
Yeah, it is.
To be able to, it's kind of like Batman.
It is. So
don the suit.
At graduation, I told mom I needed a picture board because I've got some other pictures from college I want to put out there. And I took the board and I grabbed all the pictures that I had in the suit with them and my brothers and other family members. And that's how they found out that I was the lion for 2.5 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a surprise. So what was your degree for when you were there?
So I started out as a political science major.
Okay. What made you go that route?
I wanted to go into city government.
Okay.
My dad had been part of city government, and I just saw how that could be transformational at the very local level.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to do. I also realized that I didn't want to go to law school.
Yeah.
Hindsight, I wish I would have just stuck with it and gone to law school, but at the time I had no desire for law school. So I knew that I couldn't do much with a political science degree. So I took a off-the-whim volunteer management course.
Okay.
That was part of a nonprofit management degree.
This is all getting interesting.
Need to find something.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the Boy Scouts. I went to Boy Scout summer camp. At that point, I had worked a couple summers for the Boy Scouts at summer camp. The Lindenwood University had a program where there was college scholarship money available for Eagle Scouts, Girl Scout Gold Award winners. And then there was a employer bonus if you got a degree in nonprofit management and then went to go work for one of 12 national nonprofits.
Okay.
I had zero desire to do that because all my friends were all following the same path. They were going to Lindenwood, received the scholarship, getting a degree in nonprofit management, and then going to work for a big national nonprofit. I don't want to do that.
Fall in line.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time out. Boy Scouts, were you an Eagle Scout then?
I am an Eagle Scout.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So
that is quite the achievement.
It is. It is. I was able to earn it when I was 14.
Young,
which
too.
is very young.
My last guest, Luke Schuver,
Yeah.
also an Eagle Scout.
Also an Eagle
Yes.
Scout. So I took this volunteer management course. I had to have the heart to heart. This is where my heart is. You know, my mom and dad instilled in us at a very early age that to much is given, much is expected. And when you move up, it's because someone helped you get there.
I love that.
So it's your job to turn around and bring somebody else up. Mm-hmm. And it's not about a hand out, it's about a hand up. So all those things have been,
I love it.
All those things have just been engraved in me that whatever I do in life, it has to be in a manner that I'm helping the common good. It can't just be me, me, me. It's got to be the community. It's got to be we. So taking this volunteer management course, I realized, no, it's time to fall in line. So I switched.
Maybe this was for me.
Yeah. I switched. I got a degree in nonprofit management. My advisor said, you're 2 classes away from 2 degrees. Finish.
Yeah. Yeah. Great advice.
And I told him, I don't want to. And he looked at me as a loving father figure. Finish it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Very
sir.
great advice.
I submit. At that point, I thought that I was going to actually enter the Catholic seminary and become a priest and just take this experience and then give it to the Lord and he'll do with what he wants.
Yep.
Well, the Lord said, you should go work on a grad degree and I'll tell you the next step once you get there. So I moved here. I was working for the Boy Scouts in Key West, Florida.
Okay.
Moved here to Iowa, sight unseen.
And Florida to Iowa.
Iowa. This kid had no clue there was a Key West, Iowa. So when I got here the first couple weeks, I was telling people, yeah, I just moved here from Key West. In my head, that was Key West, Florida. Yeah. In their eyes,
down the road.
you didn't grow up in Key. You didn't come from Key West, Iowa. Sorry, it just didn't happen. So I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know how I was going to sustain myself. I knew 2 people here at the university, both of whom was helping to recruit me.
Yeah.
And I knew they had a grad degree program. So I just said, Lord, take me.
Yeah.
So I moved in. They found me a place. They found me a job, and away we went. I found the church on campus, and was going to church there. I was still working for the Boy Scouts as a camp director at Camp Ingowanas up in Waverly. We needed volunteers for this camp we were running. It was a partnership between the United Way, the Girl Scouts, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and the Boy Scouts, where we would take any kid between first grade and sixth grade in Black Hawk County for a 2-day outdoor educational experience.
Okay.
All paid for. They just had to get on the bus at their local grade school, come out to camp. I went around and took archery and went to gym classes and taught archery. Had blown this attendance to like 1,400 kids. Okay. We needed a few more volunteers.
Yeah.
So
can't do
I
that
was
by
just
yourself.
Scouring. Talk to the pastor at the church. Hey, do you know any teachers that would volunteer? Oh, we've got one here. Well, I had already gone to her because she had a son. Do you want to come to this camp? It's free. He signed up. So I went back to her and said, hey, would you want to volunteer? I'm told you're a teacher. She said, sure, but you have to take me out to dinner.
Huh.
I didn't know that it hit me completely by surprise.
Okay.
Because I didn't know that she had been looking at me with romantic eyes for a couple months now and was trying to figure out a way
for it to work
spark this thing. Being a nonprofit management guy, you oftentimes take volunteers out for coffee or dinner or beverage.
It's a great way to get to know people.
It's a great way to... So
rapport.
I didn't think anything of it. It's like, okay,
sure.
I have to take a volunteer to dinner. Lunch. Not a problem.
You're taking her to Montage or where?
We went to Los Cabos in downtown Cedar Falls.
Okay, that's a mutual
place, Mexican food.
Yeah.
Somewhere there, then it became, would you want to go to a movie? And that's where it clicked. Ding. Oh, this isn't just, I'm thanking you for coming to work for 4 days.
Heck yeah.
And I fell asleep in the movie.
So it wasn't very good.
Throw it out there. It was Ocean's 13.
Oh.
So pretty good movie.
Shouldn't have been sleeping. You were tired.
I was tired.
Volunteer work.
Summer camp, hot, no food. Now I come into town. So she will never let me down, let that story down.
For the first date, you didn't show up.
I have the ring, so I made
it worked out. Yeah.
We're almost married 15 years now.
Very good.
Yeah.
And it was all because of the volunteerism.
It was all the volunteerism.
That giving back, you said that your parents instilled that in you. What sort of things do you remember them doing when you were a kid to see that?
It was large and small. It was when we go to school supply shopping.
Oh.
Buy an extra thing of markers because we're going to donate it to the Salvation Army for kids that don't have school supplies. It was very evident in our community. We were one of a few 2-parent households. And Mom made sure we understood the challenges that other kids were having because there's only one parent in the house. Either mom or dad, there's only one parent, so there's only so much that they could do. If we were going to school shoe shopping, every kid likes to have a new pair of sneakers for the first day. We'd always pick up a second pair. And Mom would know somebody who needed that second pair. If it was Martin Luther King Day and because we were in the Scouts, there was a parade, someone to carry the flags. We were always the ones that carried the flags.
Oh, I love that.
So it was just large and small ways. And things that I try to instill in my kids and the kids that we surround ourselves with, that even in first grade, you can do something to help somebody else.
Absolutely.
Our kids have a little piggy bank. Beginning, July, August, schools, you can buy a pack of markers for 50 cents. Hey, grab 50 cents. You're buying an extra pack of markers. And then on back to school night, you take the markers to the school counselor and let her know that you bought this with your money to give to another kid. And it's just those little ways that I know that we still teach those things, but it's not being taught to the way that it should anymore. But those are the things that we as a society still need to get back to just promote basic human dignity and basic human dignity. Just be kind to folks. And it doesn't have to be Instagram worthy. It doesn't have to be splashy. I want accolades for.
Huge.
It can just be quiet. quiet ways, or something as simple as smiling and opening a door for someone.
Mm-hmm.
Those things go a long way.
Yeah, taking the time to listen to someone's story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can make somebody's life, right?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So your parents growing up instilled this in you. You had said, though, that it was your mom was home helping take care of the kids, your dad strictly working, and that had forged a way for you forward. How so? How did it change you as to how you're doing it now?
So, I am very blessed to have mom and dad and have two different examples of how to support one another. And while dad worked, he still had a sense of community, and there were still things that were very important to him. He was our scout leader.
Okay.
So, for our relationship, I learned the value of hard work.
Hell yeah.
And you grind because you've got a family to take care of. Mm-hmm. And that's something that has instilled with me when I've been between spots in careers, and sometimes you got to pick up two jobs.
Yeah, sometimes.
Not because I'm a man, rather I'm a member of this household and I have a responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's not for my own ego. It's because I need to provide for these children that they can't work and they shouldn't have to work.
Right.
That's the adults' jobs.
Yep.
And that's what I learned from my dad, that no, you be scrappy and you figure it out. And it might not be pretty work. It might not be what you've been academically trained for. You might not even be interested in it. But if it's going to help pay the bills and take care of your house so that you have a roof over your head, you got food on the plate, you got clothes on your back, then that is what you do. And
Absolutely.
You grind it out because that's just what it is. So I recognize that, and I recognize my mom's very much laser focus on bringing people together. And I've kind of infused both of those into a role as a parent, as a spouse, where I want to be all in for my kids and my family. I also want to be all in on professional attributes and take care of the community as well in my little way.
Yeah.
I can't do everything.
No.
Not everyone's qualified to do everything, but I know the few things that I can do and add to community. So not Martin Luther King Day, rather Dr. Seuss's birthday, beginning of March.
Yep.
A couple years ago, I picked up a Cat in the Hat costume.
I saw that.
And now I go around to the schools and some daycares, and I read Cat in the Hat. I'll ham it up a bit for kindergarten, first, second grade, but I'll also pop into fifth and sixth grade because I think that is even more impactful than kindergarten,
Absolutely.
first, second. Because younger grades, they're still really fired up about education. When you get to those, that teen, tween ages, it starts to wear.
It does.
And especially for boys, the love of just reading really starts to wear off. So to have someone come in and say, hey, these things are still important.
And it's still cool.
And it's so cool.
It's okay.
And we can have fun with it.
Yeah,
So
you're not a nerd.
You're not a nerd because you want to pick up a book and read.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And I also recognize that for whatever reason you want to say, there's not a lot of people of diversity that kids can look to that actually can maybe reach out and touch them. You see the celebrities, you see the athletes,
I like that.
You see the people, in high positions.
On TV.
Yeah. But who's the guy that you see at Hy-Vee or
Across
in the
the
grocery
street.
store?
Yeah.
Who's the guy you see at the ball games? Mm-hmm. I recognize that God has given me a very small platform to be an example of what a decent, successful minority male in a predominantly Caucasian community can look like.
Absolutely.
So when I have the opportunity to be able to work with kids, doesn't matter whose kids, like all the kids that we've interacted with coaching baseball or teaching religious ed class,
dude.
But it's like you've got to give because someone has given so much to me. I recognize that I've had experience to meet sitting U.S. presidents and to go travel overseas and to be around some really popular people of influence. and to just do some really cool things.
Yeah.
That means that I have so much to give back.
I love that.
And can I take people to Geneva, Switzerland or to Japan for 6 weeks? No. But can I take an inflatable to Welcome Week at the university and have some fun there? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we go and break down something and just talk real talk? Absolutely. So that's my role.
Hell yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Right now, currently, you're involved with the, St. Stephen the Witness.
Yeah.
What does that role look like for you?
So St. Stephen the Witness is the Catholic Student Center that serves college students.
Okay. On
That's
the campus?
Primarily on the campus of the University of Iowa.
Okay.
It has also responsibility for the students at Hawkeye Community College and the other professional colleges in the area. So like Allen, College of Nursing, LaJanes, and the other. So our bread and butter is young people 18 to 25.
All right.
That being said, the doors open to everyone. So
I've been to Mass.
We have families there. We have professors there. We have retirees there. We pick up anyone.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why it's been around forever is because of its simplicity of intentionality. So
elaborate on that, please.
Yeah. So, it's never been a huge staff. It's never been a huge building. The building we're in now is a gorgeous space.
It is very nice.
And it was built by people that understood the nature of connecting one-on-one. So everything we do, we have 3 words. We say we pray, we serve, and we belong. But it's very intentional. So we want to get to know you by name. What does that mean? It means for all of our student services, everyone wears a name tag. For all of our services, before it begins, we tell people to stand up and greet one another by name. So it's not just a hi, it's a hi, I'm Paul, who are you? Oh, you're Nate, nice to see you. How was your week? How can I pray for you? So it's really building community and that reminder that we're not just
surface level.
We want to go deeper. We want to walk with one another on this journey of faith, not just walk aimlessly along the path.
Yeah.
So my role there is as director, meaning that I oversee all aspects of the operation. So the staff, the mission, and the vision, working with some of the 800 students that walk through the door throughout the year, helping to coordinate the liturgies, the programming, doing the fundraising.
Yeah.
Everything that you think of running a church is on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has it been the funding?
Yeah.
Has that been difficult, finding funding for that? Where does that come from? What's it look like?
So all of our funding comes from people that, out of the generosity of their hearts, write a check to support our mission.
Okay.
I am the only development staff. So, if you say, oh, you have a full-time development person, sure. If you call that also the guy who is going to be out picking up garbage and the guy who's going to be coordinating.
Talking with the kids.
Yeah. Sure.
Yep,
then sure.
Me.
I'm that guy.
Yeah.
We do 2 mailers a year, and they're really basic, 1 page. Here's what we're doing. We need your help.
Yeah.
Every year, God provides more than what we need.
Oh, I love that.
And therefore, we're able to put it into new programming or bringing in nationally known speakers or musicians to be able to put more experiences to the young people. Because for those of us who believe in faith, we recognize that college adults, many of them have not experienced what authentic faith living looks like. Take the denominations out of it.
Absolutely.
We're trying to teach people what faith is. And it's not what you see in a 30-second video or what you read in social media.
Yeah.
That it's authentic living and it's positive. And then you can build, I want to introduce you to this guy called Jesus Christ. And then from there, we can build, well, there are many different denominations that all believe in Jesus, but just gets to it a different way. It's very similar to, Well, what do you like on top of your pizza? I like this. You like this. We still love pizza.
Yeah.
We're still going to eat the pizza, but it's just how you come across it.
Absolutely.
We're not always there yet. We're just building that foundation that, let me introduce you to pizza.
Yeah.
Now, for others, it could be a reintroduction to the Catholic Church because they had a bad experience or they've heard of bad experiences.
Right.
So they're not willing to open themselves. And that's where we do a lot of things in our building. Very blessed that it's right next door to the bookstore.
Oh, yeah.
So
the UNI bookstore.
You always have to walk by it, which means we always have signs in the yard so people can see what we're doing. We also make sure that we're on campus because it can be intimidating to have someone walk through our doors.
Yeah.
We're really good. Once you walk through the door, we get students.
You feel like family.
You feel like family. And having out of our weekly small groups, we've had 400 students consistently be a part of it. So we know how to keep people in the doors.
Just getting them through.
It's getting them through. And sometimes you have to meet people where they are before they will come to where you are.
Absolutely, you do.
So the more things we do
Isn't that Christ-like?
It is. Christ didn't just wait in the temple.
Right, yeah. He met people where they were at.
He was at the parties. He was at the bar. He was at the river. He was where people did everyday life.
Absolutely.
And and I think that has been the secret sauce of St. Stephen the Witness, is just being where people are today.
So you had said seeing or hearing other people's bad experiences. Mm-hmm. I didn't become Catholic until I got married, and I don't know if I was a believer until I was 26 or 27.
Yeah.
Now I'm concrete. I know why I believe what I believe. How do you get past that in today's society with all the noise to show people this is actually what it's like? It's not all the stuff you've heard.
We don't like to listen anymore.
To the noise?
We don't like to listen to people.
Okay.
We like to listen to respond. We want people to listen to us, but to me, we don't take enough time to listen to people's stories. So one of the things that, and I'm the type of person that if I identify a problem, I'm going to identify how I can solve it, or at least what I can do to add to the change of that problem.
Correct.
So going on campus, do you have a question about the Catholic Church? Ask me. And I'll put that on a sign, and I'll sit in the library for an hour. And might get 100 people walk past, but I'll have one person, I have a question about this.
Are you ever nervous that you're not going to know the answer?
Oh, all the time.
Because
all the time.
I'm new to the faith, and I know what I believe, why I believe it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm like, don't ask me anything.
Don't ask me about this. So I make sure I carry, I carry a copy of the Bible. I carry a copy of the Catechism of the Catholic Church.
Your handbooks.
My handbooks. But they're in a bag because I don't want them sitting out, because I don't want people to think I'm just giving them
dumping through that.
Yeah. I'm not going to prophesize to them. I'm going to just answer questions.
Yeah. If I don't know it, here's where I'm going to find it.
And sometimes you get someone who grew up Catholic but is no longer practicing because of a bad sermon that happened at Mass, or their interpretation of the people in their church back home. So they'll come up and tell me about this. Why is this going on? Okay, give me your perspective. Well, I see this, this, and this. Okay, let's go back to what the church teaching on this is, and then flip it out. And it's like, here, I don't want you to think I'm just telling you something. I want you to see it in black and white. Mm-hmm. Because especially this generation, they've been told social media, they can get just about anything. You don't know, is it authentic? Is it accurate?
Yeah.
So I want to give them, here is the teaching. Now, how that's been interpreted, maybe someone did it right, maybe not. But this is where they're supposed to be coming from.
Yeah.
And I tell people all the time that, especially with the Catholic Church, the goal of the church is pure and untouchable. But remember, it's being executed by flawed individuals. So just as though with everything else, flawed individuals are going to screw things up. And if you can't accept that, then you're going to have a hard time in life, because there's flawed individuals in all walks of life. I mean, even basic to grocery workers.
Yes.
If you ask someone to pick your groceries, hopefully they pick quality ingredients, based on what you ordered. But they might just be having a bad day and squish their banana and throw it in the bag and still send it to you.
Absolutely.
Those same
things apply.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, as high up as a priest, as high up as the president of the United States. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And seeing that, it helps you better understand.
Yeah,
absolutely. You've been involved with the church and with your faith for a long time. Where did that come from? It was given to you?
It was. So I grew up not as a Catholic.
Okay.
My formative younger years was as a Baptist, missionary Baptist. My dad was a cradle Catholic. My mom started out Presbyterian because that was the church of her parents, and it was down the street from their house. So it makes it very easy that's where we go to church.
And in the same regard, we have to look at the lens of back then as well.
Yeah.
If the church is close, if you agree with the things it's teaching, if it's easy for your family to make it.
If it's supporting the local community.
The community right where you live.
That's where you go.
Yeah.
In St. Louis, at the time, if you wanted to attend Catholic high school at a reduced tuition rate, you had to be a member of a Catholic church.
Yeah.
So since Dad was Catholic, we had already gone to Catholic grade school, so we had already been indoctrinated with the teachings of the church. We as a family agreed with those teachings. It made sense to just the natural next step was to become members of the church.
Gotcha.
So that faith has always been another one of those hardline, these are the values of our family.
Yeah.
To the point that when we were all old enough, Mom said, if you didn't go to church on Sunday, don't ask me for anything else the rest of the day. If you're not willing to give 45 minutes to an hour to God, then you don't need me that day.
When you say it like that, it's really hard to come up with an excuse.
Yeah.
You don't have 45 minutes in your
45 minutes, and you're in the entirety of your week.
Yeah.
And especially, even now with travel sports, and, my daughter does competitive dance. My son's going to be on a traveling basketball team this year.
Yeah.
They both know we will carve time out for church.
Yeah.
We're fortunate that we live in a community that there's Saturday masses, there's Sunday morning masses, and on campus, there's a Sunday evening mass. It's 7 p.m. I know that because I'm in charge of it.
Yeah.
So there's no excuse, and there's no travel sports that still has you playing by 7 p.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
So what's your excuse to not give God? If you say you're a Christian,
yes, if
you say that you believe in this higher power,
he's asking 45 minutes for him?
45 minutes out of the entirety of your week. Really? I don't think that's hard to do.
I love that.
So faith had always been instilled with me. Very fortunate that I had a strong group of formators that really sealed in the teachings, but also presented it from a historical context. So looking at just the history of Christianity and how it started, the Catholic Church was the first thing, and then all these other branches broke off from it. So in my head, even as a high school freshman, it was, why would I be part of something else instead of being part of the original? I might not understand everything that the Catholic Church teaches, and I don't think anyone fully understands the gravity of everything the church teaches. But there's a reason why God gave these things to the church. It's not for us to always understand, and at some point we will when we meet the Maker himself.
I love that.
We can still believe. So that's, for me, it was like, all right, this is simple.
Made sense.
This is very simple. I know for others, they just can't get past certain things. Maybe it's the stance on abortion or contraceptives. Maybe it's the stance on euthanasia. Maybe it's the stance on LGBTQ and how they interpret the church teachings on it. Those are conversations I look forward to having with people.
Oh, I like that.
I love having those conversations because some of these things become, oh, I've always been taught this.
I've always thought
this.
Yeah.
But the church frowns upon this lifestyle just as much as that lifestyle. You just don't hear about it.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So for me, faith is just one of those things that can't rely on anything else. All right, God, it's all yours.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out and you'll let me know when you do.
It sure provides a calmness. As someone who has not had it forever,
Yeah.
I just don't know where else you would turn.
Yeah.
And you had said, when you were learning about it in high school, you put it into a perfect context. The Catholic Church was the first, and then they split. So for me, it made sense in the light that you put it as well. And that's why I went with it.
Yeah.
And now, if I have those questions, I seek out the answer to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it all makes sense to me now.
Absolutely.
And I can't understand everything. And it's nice to hear that because we don't have to.
We don't have to. And especially for me, when I think of the Catholic Church, not only the religious aspects, but then the way that the religious joy has spewed out to society. And you look at things like modern hospitals. So many of our hospitals in the United States, at least, are run by a Catholic institution.
And not many people are even aware of those things.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And it's not because we want to own healthcare. It's because as Catholics, we feel that it's part of our responsibility to take care of the sick. So how do you take care of the sick? You organize centers so that people who are sick can feel well. That's hospitals. Mm-hmm. We realized very early that young people needed to be educated. So let's get people together in a classroom and educate them. Well, now we have this beautiful public system of the school system.
Yeah.
But if you look at its origins, it's in the Catholic Church. You look at blood drives, and I think back to my wife. When our daughter was born, she had major health complications. She got to the point that she ran the hospital completely out of blood in her blood type.
Wow.
They were rushing it from other places, from other states. Well, had it not been for having blood drives, that blood would not be available. She wouldn't be here today. Well, it was members of the Catholic Church that came up with this as a resource to support the troops during the times of World War I and World War II. So that's just another expression of how that joy that Catholics have for, what we believe, how it's been put into action.
And spills over.
And then, so working on campus, being able to have those conversations, young people don't know.
No.
They don't know the
Old
story.
people don't know,
Old
Paul.
people don't know the story.
I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Dang. Man, I like it even more. I'm sold already, Paul.
And so that's where, I have been given this knowledge of how the church is just played out in everyday life. Okay, God, what do you want me to do with it? He's told me, just share it, but not preach it. Don't stand on this corner. You will never find me standing on the corner. I'm not a type of guy to go picket outside of places. For me, that's not a good witness of what Christianity or what Catholicity is supposed to be.
When we are trying to talk about how Jesus would have acted, is that what I imagine as him being? Not at all.
Not at all.
No.
Now, I think, and it's documented, Jesus got after people that were trying to follow him.
Oh, flipping tables.
Yeah. So it's I'm going to make sure my house is clean, and I'm going to call people out who are saying they're Christian but not living a Christian lifestyle. But if I'm going out reaching to people, I'm going to meet them where they are. So I'm not judging if they're going to the Hill or Main Street on a Saturday night. Go have a good time. Just make sure your priorities are straight.
Yep.
Make sure your values are straight. If you're at a wedding, you will see me at the bar with a cocktail, maybe two.
Yeah.
But I know where my priorities are. I know where my limit is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be responsible for it. And we're still going to have a good time.
Yeah. And in the same regard, we are humans, and sometimes we have
Sometimes
three
we
cocktails,
slip.
and that's too much.
Yeah. And then we can go ask for forgiveness.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the beauty of faith, is that God says, okay, I'm wiping the chalkboard.
Yep. You get a new day.
Go. You get a new day. Just
Yep.
like the sun comes up in the morning, you get a new day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved with the Knights of Columbus?
So that's a funny story. So,
Because you rose very high up in the ranks
Yeah.
in our state.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I joined the Knights when I was still living in St. Louis.
Okay.
Because as most guys who have a father or an uncle, at some point they say, it's time for you to join the Knights of Columbus.
Okay.
I'd done a little bit of research, and I realized, if I join the Knights of Columbus, I have a guaranteed life insurance policy. Okay, coming out of college, I don't have money for that. So sure,
Yeah.
it made sense.
Right.
I moved to Iowa, transferred my membership, didn't get active because I didn't get a phone call. My membership was suspended. All right, well, whatever.
Life got in the way.
Life got in the
busy.
way, got married. Well, then a college student wanted to start a college Knights of Columbus Council, and he was looking for a couple non-college students to kind of be on the advisory group.
For some continuity and
Continuity,
consistency.
leadership
I get it.
development. I said, sure, I'll help you get started. A couple of us, we're still active, but we'll help you get started. Well, God has a way of taking your little bit and making a little bit more. And he said, well, I need you to help coordinate the local units right there in town. So for 3 years, I did that. And then God said,
Now, when we're talking about local units,
so each church has its own local council.
each Catholic church has its own Knights of
Knights of
Columbus.
Columbus Council.
Okay.
So those are the local units. So I was responsible for Cedar Falls, Waverly, Rhinebeck, and a little bit in Waterloo, plus the college council.
Okay.
Then he said, you have a lot of experience organizing events. The state office needs someone to help organize events. Well, I had no desire to run for state office because at that point I had only been active in the organization for 4 years. What am I doing running for state office?
I mean, those questions can come up.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah. And there are all these other guys that have been 10, 15, 20 years dedicated
50.
service. 50 years.
Yeah.
What's this young punk doing? Well, I ran for office because one of those guys said, you should run for office.
I love that.
And was elected. And it started a path where then at age 33, I was elected to serve as the CEO of 31,000 Knights in the state of Iowa.
Yeah.
242 local councils.
That is wild.
That collectively gave, consistently gives over $1 million in charitable gifts and volunteers the same 1 million to 2 million hours of volunteer service.
I personally know firsthand. I'm a member of the Cedar Falls Council. That was another thing when I was looking for those answers.
Yeah.
It's like, how am I going to find them? Well, I don't know much about my faith. I don't know much about the Catholic Church. I think I should probably join Knights of Columbus.
Yeah.
And it was back when you still had the experience where you would go into the church to get your first degree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much of that can be said here, but it was a really good experience for me. I went with another guy my age, and just the amount of leadership experience that comes from that group of men. Our councils are aging.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not going to be around forever, and we're not replacing them. And I think that this is something that society has let go to the back burner that we don't regard as something that's very important these days. I think that that's a huge mistake. I think that there's a reason why there were all sorts of these groups years ago for other generations to be involved with. And no, I would really like to see it brought back.
We have lost the notion that community involvement in an organized manner matters.
Yes.
And that's where you look at either the Knights of Columbus or the AMVETs or the
JCs.
Elks,
The list goes on and on and on
the
and on.
Kiwanis, you name it. These groups are shrinking because as a society, we're so focused on me and not enough focused on we.
Yeah.
What we can do together. The power of transformational growth when you bring people together and you bring the local banker with the local baker with the school principal, and you
That's
bring
a great point.
You know, it's like you bring these different viewpoints together, and you have these projects, and it's, oh, we need to build a warming shelter for the homeless that they can go safely overnight. Okay, now the baker says, well, any of the leftover food that I don't sell, it's still fresh, it's still good. I'll make sure one of my employees brings it over.
Yeah.
And, oh, here's this financing option. Let me, as the banker, help you with this. And, oh, I have a bunch of college students. I could probably get some rotation to be able to help with staffing.
Yeah.
Because they need a few dollars in their pocket. And they stay up all night anyway.
Yeah.
So they could play video games or they could come work a shift.
Yeah.
So now, but it was the power of
networking
at these groups that all these big things happen in our community.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that the more we get focused on technology and self-gratification, those community elements are just going to fall by the wayside.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, we've seen that. Shout out to, in our council, Mike Youngblood. He went crazy getting young people our age in. He has... He's not nervous to go up to you and say, are you a member of the Knights? Why not?
Why not?
Why you're our age, that you should be.
Yeah.
I have firsthand seen the benefit. I came down with a sickness for 20-some days 2 years ago and got a pile of money from Brother Knights brought to my house, which is what it's intended to do. And then this last, this car accident our family suffered, Roger, who's now in charge, was one of the first to message me to ask what we needed.
What do you need?
Yeah.
And for me, the money is important. The prayers
absolutely
are more important, and just knowing that people care.
Love you.
And people want to love on you. Because it can be a lonely place. Like, being in this world can be a lonely place.
It can, and I've been that way.
Yeah. I think everyone, if they're truly honest, even from high to low, can think of moments where you're by yourself. Even if you're married, you feel like you've got to strap up and own this by yourself. To know that at your darkest hours, and I think for my wife and I, combination of 2013 when we lost our son Stephen, we had a miscarriage.
Sorry to hear that.
And it was miscarriage stillbirth. And then the next year, our daughter was air flighted as soon as she was born to Iowa City and spent almost 20 days down there. My wife nearly died on the operating table. That outpour of love that we are going to rally as a community and pour into you, because that's what we do. That, for me, is all the reason why we feel strongly about supporting our community, and whether it's being involved with the Knights or being involved with some of the other philanthropic organizations, or just it's the first day of school and we know that teachers, you need a shot in the arm, so we're going to go buy $25 Sidecar gift cards. Sidecar should be a sponsor, just FYI. And let's just give 20 teachers, the first 20 adults we see in the building, here's a Sidecar back to school gift card. Everyone can find something they can do to help.
Everyone.
These are our ways we can do it.
Hell yeah. I love that. I love that. So that turbulent time in your life and your marriage and losing a child.
Yeah.
Was your faith ever shaken?
When I had moments of true doubt that, is this thing real? Is this thing something that we just do? But very quickly I snapped out of it because of the outpouring of love. When we found out on a Thursday, we were going in for an appointment, our kids, our oldest son, our middle son, we have 4 kids. Noah, our second child, he was always difficult to hear on the sonograms. So we didn't think much of it. We went in that day and they said, well, let's just go to ultrasound. Let's just see him. Because they weren't finding a heartbeat. We didn't think much of it. Well, we get in there and hook everything up, and it's just silent. And you could just feel it. And you could see in the lab tech's face that something was up. And she stopped and grabbed the doctor. And he came in, and then they together delivered the news that his heartbeat had just stopped. We didn't know what to do. We knew that there was mass at 4:30. We couldn't bring it ourselves to tell anyone. We knew that we still had kids at home, so somebody had to go there who were waiting. So we were able to call my wife's mom. Can you go home? Can you go to our house? Why? We just need you to go to the house.
Yeah.
We went to the church. There was mass going on. We sat in the back pew and just bawled. And afterwards, people came up to us. We still cannot bring to words what we were going through. But people just stood around us and touched us and prayed over us. And it's like, this is God. This is God telling you, you're going to get through this dark moment. I'm here.
Yeah.
I am physically right here with you.
As someone who has recently felt these things. Wow.
And it's just that touch. And so while I would say my faith was kind of stirred, not, it was shaken, but not stirred. It's one of those that, why, God, are you putting me through this? To, what am I supposed to get out of this? Yeah. And when I think of hard moments in life, yes, everyone has moments, but I think of hard moments. We have a term for someone who loses a husband, someone who loses a spouse, someone who loses a parent. We in our society, we don't have a word for parents who lose a kid. Because for me, it's such the unimaginable that we can't give it a name. So those to me are like hard things, the loss of someone you love. If you're a combat veteran or otherwise and you lose a leg, like those are hard moments. That's where God has shown me I'm still here. And this is what I want you, your family, community to get out of this negative situation. I think of, just most recently, the fires that happened in Hawaii, in the island of Maui, and all the people that lost their lives and all the destruction that was there. Do you know the church there was not touched?
On the island?
On the island. The church was not touched. And I think just looking at history and looking at what has happened positive after a negative situation, he's going to bring something even more glorious than what was there before. We just have to trust him. So for me, my faith is one of, I've had moments of serious loss, but had we not lost our son Stephen, our daughter Josephine wouldn't be here. If we had not gone through what our daughter had gone through, there might not be a second pediatric helicopter in the state of Iowa to go rescue patients, because we got involved with Children's Miracle Network, the Dance Marathon program. Our local dance marathon at UNI one year decided to raise money for a new helicopter because of Josie's story. They were able to raise enough money to buy a helicopter and make sure it's outfitted for pediatric use.
And then my son rode down in it to Iowa City.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of the lady in the OR who told us, I don't go to church. I don't know if I believe in God, but your wife that day made me pray. Praise God. God was able to touch one person that he had lost and bring her back to the fold. You know, you think of that Bible story of,
Black
you know,
sheep.
the sheep and the one sheep that God, you know, yes, we've got the 99. That's great. But I'm here for that one. Because you 99 are together. You're a part of the team.
Strong.
That one. And so he's used our story, he's used our tragedies to be able to bring so much good into the world.
Absolutely.
That's the reason for our tragedies. Someone had to go through it so that other people could see the beauty and see the positive of God. And as a family, sometimes it's almost unbearable that why do I have to shoulder the tragedy when what's my responsibility? I don't know if I'm the right type of person to handle this responsibility. But every day he tells me, just do this. I'm not asking you to eat the whole apple. Just take a bite. Tomorrow you take another bite. Tomorrow you take another bite. And when it's my last breath, I'll take the last bite.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whew, I didn't anticipate to get into all that. Wow. So we just started school.
Yeah.
And you have kids.
Love this time of year.
Starting school, you are starting college campus. What are the things you're looking forward to this year?
This year, I don't know. I'm at a point where I've been so involved in so many different civic organizations. I was on the Boy Scout Board of Directors for 12, 13 years. I've served time on the Blackhawk County Gaming Association Board and was an officer in that group. And right now, I'm not on many different boards.
You say that?
I serve the city, as chair of the Civil Service Commission. This year, I'm looking forward to what's next, Lord. What are you going to ask me to serve in? So, do the things I can do. I can love on my family. I can love on whoever comes in my contact. My wife texted me last night, hey, it's hot. There's some dorms on campus that don't have AC.
Yeah.
One of her college buddies now has a daughter that's here, living in one of those dorms. You okay if they spend the night at our house?
Yeah.
I've never met them before. I'm going to get home late because we have programming. But if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen. So
Heck yeah.
we were just blessed this past February with our first granddaughter.
Congratulations.
So I'm looking forward to just seeing her grow. She's now at that stage where she can almost scoot around. She's 6 months old.
Fun.
So
getting into stuff.
It's like, oh, this is a fun time. And as grandpa, I get the best job because I can just spoil her.
Yeah.
I don't have to parent her.
Yep, exactly.
And then just to see what the kids get into this year. It's very much, got an 8th grader and a 3rd grader. Our oldest son is 24. He's getting married next year to his fiance. So just
a lot of
being
different
all
stuff.
in.
Yeah.
And, whatever that means, if it's a band concert or orchestra or, I'm Dan's dad. I fully rock it. I'm at the competition.
Heck yeah.
I'm there doing the dances with her. And, Dad, you don't know what to do? Well, then show me how to do it. And
heck yeah.
it's like, just
but
be
you're
all
there,
in. But
and
you're
present, and you're all
present.
in.
Yeah.
I love that.
And if the schools call and say, hey, we've got a young boy that needs someone to talk to, name the time and place.
Yeah.
Because our young people need positive role models. On top of that, they need positive male role models.
Yeah.
And we as men, high or low class, job of influence, or you're the sanitation guy, we all have a voice to be able to show that we can be part of this community and you can be a vibrant member without making $6-7 million. You don't need to have
no
simple life, but you can still make a difference.
Heck yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we're running out of time for today, but you can't get out of here without me taking you to the firing
Let's
range.
do it.
So it's just quick this or that questions, whatever speaks to you in the moment.
All right.
This episode of the firing range is brought to you by Pixel Labs. Thank you, Zach and Sam, for hooking me up with all this beautiful studio. I had mentioned this isn't my basement, huh?
No, it's not. It's a legit studio. This is gorgeous.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, the basement was okay.
It would have been
got
all
you
right.
started. But season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Real life here.
Yeah.
Almost a studio set. Are you ready to rock and roll, Paul?
Let's do it.
All right. Your first one is, are you going to take savory or are you going to take sweet?
Oh, savory all day, twice on Sunday.
I already knew that. Are you a summer person or winter?
Summer.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Are you taking basketball or football?
Football.
Cubs or the Cardinals?
Is there a choice?
No,
Go
there's not
Cardinals.
even a question. Christmas or Easter?
Christmas.
Steak or a seafood kind of guy?
Seafood.
Driver, passenger?
Driver.
Guacamole or salsa?
Salsa.
Are you past, and your final one, past, present, or future? Which one you taking?
Future.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Well, Paul, I respect what you do in our community. You're one of those guys who I see at everything, and I appreciate you being so involved. Our community reaps the reward of what you're doing, and I really appreciate you taking the time to sit with me today.
Hey, I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks so much.
Oh, yeah.